Track and field fans, welcome, welcome, welcome. 2026 USA Championships are in the books. LetsRun.com co-founder Robert Johnson. I will be breaking it down for you. Jonathan Galt is right over there finishing up an interview. He will be here as well. Stars came to New York for the first time in 35 years. What happened? We'll break down the whole meet for you. But today, the big story from the Let's Run perspective, Cooper Lutkenhaus has delivered as the favorite. I mean, it wasn't the greatest U.S. field, but he crushed it. He looked like a world-class runner. Fantastic. His first of hopefully many national titles. Sensational for Cooper Lutkenhaus. And the women's 800, Nia Aikens. Left for dead by many. When I was editing the preview, Jonathan Galt's great preview a few days ago, he didn't have Nia Aikens in it. I said, John, Nia's undefeated on the season. She's been running extremely low-key meets. We find out here she's been dealing with a concussion. She upsets the field, wins another U.S. title. Congrats to her. And then the 5,000, it's now turned into who's the best 1,500-meter runner. At the global level, it happens here. Vincent Ciattei is your champion. He said, folks, you are the reason why he won it. He said, I was motivated by reading on the Let's Run forums that I'd blown my best chance to win a U.S. title. Well, less than 24 hours, he is a U.S. champion. Cooper Teare is second. Emily Mackay wins the women's 5,000. Dust Shelby Houlihan in the last 200. And both of those women dusted Parker Valby with 800 to go. Valby Mania, it's dead right now. But she's extremely upbeat. I had a long post-race interview with her. She said she would give herself a B or B minus for the meet. Somebody in the chat, make sure that, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? I assume if you couldn't hear me, somebody would have said something in the chat by now. Anyways, those of you that aren't watching live, that means you're a Supporters Club member. If you want this as a podcast, join the Supporters Club today. LetsRun.com/subscribe. LetsRun.com/subscribe. And there he is. Jonathan Galt. I just told people basically what happened, and now we'll break it down.
Sorry I'm late to the party, Robert. But yeah, happy to break down the final day of USA's. I don't know if you feel this way, Robert. I mean, there were some good races. That men's hurdle, 110 hurdles was a great way to end the meet, but I do feel fairly underwhelmed after today's action.
I'm not going to go negative. I'm happy that it was in New York. John's always worried about the crowd now. I'm officially pro New York, so no.
One day with Zoran Memdani at the meet, and Robert's he's become a believer in New York. It's his favorite city. So Memdani's won you over, huh?
Some of the races were more than great, but I was very look, I haven't gotten to the sprints. It was Cordell Tinch. He was a world champion, right, last year?
That's right.
I mean, that's what an incredible event that is. I mean, like, he wins the world title. We've got Thorpe and Britt. We've got Holloway. I mean.
And then a 20-year-old, a guy who just turned 20 2 days ago, runs 13 flat in the final. He's not even the fastest 20-year-old in America because of Jacoby Thorpe. It's the embarrassment of riches in that event is crazy.
Sophomore from Stanford University almost won at 13.00. Melissa Jefferson Wooden was amazing, 21, or, she's always good, 21.69. Noah Lyles pulled up injured in the men's 200. And that was the thing. I felt like we had enough star power. We didn't get Melissa versus Sha'Carri in the 100. So thank God, Sha'Carri showed up. Thank God Noah Lyles showed up. And Houlihan injured, people can see, he shouldn't have showed up. Well, he ran a lifetime best yesterday in the 100. So we had enough. It was a little bit disappointing today. Grant Fisher, was he chicken? Was he scared or was he injured? He looked so bad in the 10. I guess I can see why he didn't run this.
I've got an update.
Okay.
I texted his coach, Mike Scannell, and I asked him, obviously, why did you not run the 5K today? He said he hurt his foot in the 10K. He's been getting it worked on ever since. Did some strides yesterday. Didn't go well. They decided not to risk it today. But he said he knew immediately when he crossed the finish line that something was up with his foot and that he got it worked on right away. But Mike's like, I don't want to speculate on how much it affected his race on Thursday. But yeah, that is why Grant Fisher didn't run the 5K today.
So say that again. I was looking at my computer.
I was saying he felt his foot as soon as he crossed the finish line. He knew something was up with it. They got worked on it right away. but Mike didn't want to speculate on how much it may or may not have affected his race on Thursday. He wanted to give credit to Woody for running well. So yeah, I mean, it is a little reminiscent in 2023. Grant Fisher gets outkicked in the 5K, in the 10K, doesn't even make the team. He scratches the 5K from that meet as well. You know, he was dealing with an injury. He did come back by the end of the season that year and was running well, set American record in the Diamond League final in the 3K. So yeah, you just hope, you know, there are some big races to come and that this is not something super serious. That's what Noah Lyles said after his race was, yeah, look, it was a cramp. He's already got the 100 title. He didn't want to risk anything today, especially there's no team in the line. So he seemed pretty optimistic about where he's at after running 9.7 twice in the 100, and you know, the rest of the season's still to come. So yeah, didn't seem like a huge deal for Lyles. We'll see. TBD on Fisher.
By the way, you need a running stencil that can help you improve your running form and keep you healthy. Free 30-day trial of Aletheia Run. Enter the code LetsRun10. Folks, there's a new website you need to go to, letsrun.com/deal, letsrun.com/deal. Apparently, there's some shoe deals as well. I'm not sure. There we go. Vomero 8 only. Is that real? Is that Weldon made these graphics while I was getting ready? It's hard to see in the set. $94. Vaporfly 4s, $143. Pegasus 42.88. LetsRun.com. Deal of the day. You want to check it out every day. LetsRun.com/deal. Wow. I mean, I got my 5 pairs of Under Armours that I bought a few weeks ago because it was such a good deal. May have to stack up some Nikes. All right, that's the overview. Let's get to it. Men's 800. That was, you know, the race for me that I was really. Someone asked me, like, met a new journalist today, and she's like, "Well, what are you into today?" Or this meet in general. I said, "Well, the men's 8 was going to be absolutely unreal for me if Brandon Miller had showed up. He pulls out injured, but I still wanted to see how is Cooper Lutkenhaus going to handle the pressure. You know, he on paper it was way better than everybody else, and it looked like it. He just crushed the guys, right, John? I mean, I just thought it was masterful.
His last 200 was masterful. I was a little worried at the bell. You know, he dips inside. He basically willingly got himself boxed in, and yes, there is still 400 meters to run. And he's so much better than everyone else in that field that it didn't end up being a huge deal. But I thought that was a little curious. But it didn't end up being, you know, a problem at all. And his loss, I mean, it was negative split. He goes 52-26, 51-23. His last 200 splits, 25-91 and 25-32. That is the kind of Lutkenhaus we saw last year when he was just blowing people away the last 200 and mowing down the field at USA's. So that is good to see after his, you know, his setback at, I don't know what you want to call somewhat disappointing, like the only race he lost in 2026. This looked like vintage Lutkenhaus, 143.4 with a massive lost 200. Really, really terrific run today. And he gave himself a 9.5 for the season as a whole. You know, he won 2 Diamond Leagues, World Indoor Champion, US Champion indoors and out, all at the age of 17. I feel like it's hard to disagree. The only thing you could have said went wrong was he got beat by Brandon Miller at Pre, but that's his only defeat on the season. Is a guy who just won the London Diamond League. There's very little to complain about with Lutkenhaus. This was a dream season.
He might have lost to the guy who has the American record when the season is over. I mean, at the time, we were like, he lost to Brandon Miller. That wasn't good. Then Brandon Miller's looked so good. Yes. And, you know, I think that just handling the pressure, and he doesn't seem overwhelmed, and it's just so refreshing. This is the end of the season, folks. He's not going to chase more European meets. He could chase World Under 20s. He's not doing that. The coach has a plan. They're sticking to it. Leave more on the table for next year. Get ready for your final year of high school, and I think it's smart. And check out our interviews on YouTube. I talked to Hobbs Kessler. I mean, Hobbs is always an interesting interview. His comments about Josh Kerr and the weight loss were super hot on Let's Run today. Today, he had some really fascinating things about Cooper Lutkenhaus. I said, well, you know, what can you say about a high school? Hobbs was third in this race. And Hobbs thought he ran a little, Hobbs personally ran a lot of extra ground in the race. But he's like, look, Cooper's amazing. And he's like, I was there. I felt a lot of pressure when I was a teenager. And he's like, it's just really amazing for Hobbs to see. He's like, how well and unfazed by everything that Kessler is. He's like, you got to credit Cooper a lot. You got to credit the coach a lot. You got to credit the parents a lot. And it was a whole team. He's like, the brothers here. And it's just a team effort. And nothing seems too big for him. So it was a great season. If we had, on January 1st, if we had said, like, look, Cooper is going to win go undefeated for the season except for one race, indoors and out. He's going to win U.S. indoors. He's going to win world indoors. He's going to
run a personal best on the Diamond League, beat Emmanuel Wanyoni in a Diamond League, beat Marco Rope in a Diamond League. This is like almost best case scenario. And he was asked, did you do everything you wanted to this year? And he's like, well, not everything. And he kept those goals private. I'm guessing he probably wanted to get under 142, but we're splitting hairs here. This was really great. And
we know Coach Capozza is a fan of the podcast. Can we set up a private world record attempt? That was my big bold prediction. Cooper probably won at 141. Rojo won to 140. Well, maybe we could set it up in Texas. We'll exclusively film it here on LetsRun.
But
joke, people.
Yeah, I think that it makes and now and don't need to like going all the way into September for a 17-year-old. It is a long season. I know he's shown that he can produce at such a high level, but they really don't. They want to be careful. They know that this is a generational talent they're dealing with. I think they haven't put a foot wrong yet. His agent, I think they've done a great job. And if that's the decision they've reached, that they don't want to overextend, I think they've made the right decision at every step so far. So I agree with them on this one too.
So grain for a minute, like we were not going to be able to hear him, but anyway, so A+ for Cooper Lutkenhaus this year. It's been fun. Let's keep it rolling. Women's 800, it was surprising to me that, I mean, I said at the top of the show, and you weren't here, John, I said, you're originally going to write the preview and not even mention Nia Aikens.
Yeah.
And
credit to Robert yesterday. He got it wrong about me mentioning Vincent Ciattei, but he was right about Nia Aikens. I mean, in retrospect, I shouldn't have written off a woman who's won 2 of the last 3 and now 3 of the last 4 U.S. titles. But she's just such a mercurial athlete, so up and down. She was running these random races. She wasn't running particularly fast. She had not broken 2 minutes until today. And Roisin Willis and Addie Wiley were running so well in the Diamond Leagues. They're running 157s, winning Diamond Leagues. So setting American records indoors. They just look to be fitter. And, Wiley, okay, this was her 4th race in 4 days. I think you can say, okay, she gets an excuse. Roisin Willis, this was her race to win. She just didn't have it. She ran a bad race. She didn't know exactly what, she didn't know what to enter. She's just like, I didn't feel great. But I feel like if Willis is at 100%, she probably wins this race. Something was off. She didn't perform to her usual level. And Nia Aikens rode the rail and took advantage.
Yep. And I think that she's someone that does struggle with pressure and anxiety sometimes. So I was like, was it intentional to run these low-key races to be under the radar? She said that she was involved in a hit-and-run accident, missed 5 weeks of training. So, she's like, well, yeah, I wasn't like in the best shape, but she came through when it matters most. She's very, I mean, in championship U.S. races, she's hard to beat. And that's why I just think that we can't take for granted Lutkenhaus's win. Yes, he should have dispatched that field, but he won by like a full second. And, nobody snuck up on him. He had the big close, and it was game over. So congrats to Nia Aikens. Congrats to Cooper Wiley. Addie Wiley, I thought, had a great weekend. I mean, I was very impressed by that 1,500 yesterday. She and Mackay pushed Nikki Hiltz to the line. And Nikki Hiltz is someone that had won the Prefontaine Classic, ferocious competitor. And what can you say about Nikki? I mean, 8 U.S. 1,500-meter titles in a row, indoors, counting indoors and out, throwing a 3K in there, that's 9 in a row. But the fact that both women pushed Nikki so close yesterday was super impressive. And, Wiley did say, like, hey, maybe if I was fresh, I could have won. She said that yesterday, could have won the 15. But she won the 8 today. We won't know. But Wiley said, like, look, I want to practice doubling because in 2028 home Olympics, I may want to do both. I don't really. She's like, it depends on what the schedule is and how that changes. But I don't know why. I mean, you've got it. I can understand entering both to make sure you make an Olympic team, but I just don't think that is someone going to be in shape to medal in both events. I would go all in my best event.
Addie Wiley's not going to medal in both events. I think the other question is, can you make the team in both events? Because there is a document out there at MVC Olympics right now. The 2028 Olympic trials is going to be a condensed format. It's only 6 days. So doubles are going to be harder. Usually it's a 10-day meet. You've got 815, the 8's going to be the first 4 days. 15 will be the last 4 days. You get the 2-day rest period in between. Now, if you're doubling 815, that is a much harder double if it's a 6-day meet instead of 10 days.
So, well, that would be a whole nother podcast. If they go 6 days, I just hope they just do 2 weekends. You run one meet, it won't be that bad. Run on a Friday and a Sunday, and then you run the next Friday and Sunday. So, but a lot of times, don't waste our time with 3 heats when you go from you barely eliminate anybody in the first heat. Like, if you're going to change the format, you need to be smart about this USATF. I've always said we're going to have this big meet. You have 3 rounds. You go from 48 to 24 to 12. But there's a lot of people, their dream is to step on that line for an Olympic trials. So let's hope they get that right, because the trials are the goal for some people. The Olympics are the goal for others, and the Olympic medal and podium is the others. And there's a rare few in this world that if they don't get gold, they're devastated. So Aikens wins. Wiley and Megan Hunter and Rosen Willis. Actually, the top 5 women all broke 2 flat in this. Willis was only 4th. Juliet Whitaker 6th, and the high schooler Paige Shepard. A lot of talk about her pre-race. She's only 16. I mean, she's going to be a senior in high school. She could easily be moving into her junior year of high school. She was last, but she's really focused on World Juniors in 2 weeks, and had a good experience. So congrats to her. All right, 5,000. There's a lot going on. It's a 2-hour meet. We're in the mixed zone. We're interviewing the athletes. You guys don't want to hear us cry about our huge vantage point as a journalist, but you can't really see. This is like the worst viewing point of any major meet for journalists. And so sometimes we're watching on TV, but I went out to watch the 5,000 on the bend. They came by a couple times, and I was looking, and then I'm like, wait a minute, Grant Fisher isn't here. So that was disappointing. But then, they weren't going very fast, and I'm like, I just really wanted to see Grant try to outkick these milers, because we've seen this at the world level. The 5,000 turns into who's the best 1,500, who's the best 1,500 meter guy. I mean, with all the threshold training and the tempo training, all these 1,500 guys have such good endurance. The threats in these tactical 5,000s, and we saw it again today. Like Vincent Ciattei, who was 2nd in the 1,500 last night, versus Cooper Teare, a former U.S. 1,500 meter champion. They went 1-2, and Ciattei wins it with I had the last split there.
But it was
54-36 final 400, 26-7 final 200, 13-46 race. So, John, I handed out the viewers. I didn't get to talk to him. He credited LetsRun for the win. Please explain.
Yes. Well, I wrote in my post-meet analysis yesterday that Vincent Ciattei just blew his best chance to win a U.S. title, because he's been so close.
He credited you personally, so he knew you wrote it.
Well, I think so. Yeah, because many of the big dogs were missing in the 1,500, and he was very close. He lost to a good athlete, Nathan Green. I don't think there's any shame in that, but he almost won it, and maybe could have won it if he moved a little earlier in the race. And so he was clearly devastated by that, and he said he channeled that to put all his energy into this race. And I wrote him off in this race because I was under the assumption that Grant Fisher would be running this race, and that Grant Fisher would just drop everyone with a mile to go. But obviously that didn't happen. As soon as I saw Grant Fisher wasn't running, I immediately thought, well, yeah, if Ciattei's on the start line, he does have a chance. He's the best 1,500 guy in this field. So if he can just hang around and do what he did, he could win this thing. But he said, yeah, I the article. I saw that you wrote me off, and it's just a little extra fuel to the fire. So I think the biggest fuel was getting beaten in 15 yesterday. But maybe I was a little kindling there as well. So congrats to Vince for getting his first national title, age 31, outdoor title.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, I didn't even know he was in the field, to be honest. Like, his PR coming into the year was 13:46. Then he ran 13:13, and now he wins it. And I was just fascinated to see if Fisher was going to win this if he had been in it. I don't think he would have been. I think he would have really had to work really hard to drop Teare. And I think maybe if he's in the race, he makes it hard enough that it hurts Ciattei because he's a 13:13 guy, but Tiere's a 12:50 something guy. So would have been interesting.
I don't know. He did this to Cooper Teare in the Grand Slam track races last year, and he beat them. He beat him in the slow race. He pulled away from him in a faster race. I think it's very hard if you have like real peak Grant Fisher hammering with a mile to go. Very few guys in the country can hang with him. But we didn't have that today.
Are you enjoying the show? There's normally even a better podcast. It's every Tuesday or Monday. There's 3 of us on the show. It's Track Talk Podcast. Subscribe on your favorite podcast player today. But if you want this show as a podcast, if you want extra podcasts every week, you join the Sports Club. LetsRun.com/subscribe. If you want to save on shoes, if you want this Aletheia Run, go to LetsRun.com/deal. LetsRun.com/deal. Don't forget that code LetsRun10, the Aletheia Run. Check it out. All right, that's the men's 5,000. I mean, any other.
Oh, the women's 5,000
here in the men's 5,000 that we need to.
It honestly was not a super strong field because so many of the guys that made this event one of the best in the United States just weren't running. Nico Young's injured. Cole Hawker skipped the meet. Grant Fisher didn't run due to injury. He was entered. And Parker Wolf skipped the meet. So take out all those guys. Drew Hunter, I don't know where Drew Hunter was. Because, I think he has been running on the roads this year. You would think this would be an opportunity for him to do something, but he wasn't at that meet. So, yeah, you definitely were missing some talent.
By the way, another 1,500 meter guy ended up third, Sam Prakel. They all ran 13:46. Thomas Radcliffe, 13:47. Anthony Camilleri, who recently kind of out of nowhere ran 7:32, was fifth. Rose Runner says, Teare's chance of making the 5K team is almost 0. Time to move up to the 10K. You think he's moving the 10K? Folks, no. Someone else in the chat already have it. I just assume he's not athletic enough. We all know what Cooper Teare needs to be. His best event is probably the 3,000, and if he could actually hurdle and get over the water jump.
Yeah, I don't get the thinking. If you don't think he's good enough to make the 5K team, it's the same guys. You think he's beating Graham Blanks, Parker Wolf, Nico Young, Grant Fisher in the 10K? I don't.
No, he's going to be worse at the 10K. He's bigger. He's more of a 15.5 guy. He's going to be worse at the 10K. Now, I guess maybe you think if you hang in there, you could outkick them, but they're not going to just let you hang around.
I think, Robert, sometimes you're over exuberant about getting guys to move to the steeplechase, but Cooper Teare is a guy who might want to consider it, just given where he's at and he's a very good athlete, but there are more talented younger guys in his events, and I just think that's a tough situation to be in. Not maybe if you want to be making teams again, maybe you do think about the steeple, give it a shot.
But I assume he's thought about it. It's like Weldon and me. Like, we know we could not do it. So you're thinking about it for 1 second. You can't just. Anyways, but yeah, it'll be interesting.
I mean, the women's 5,000 was a pretty similar story. In this case, you did at least have someone in Parker Valby trying to make it fast, but in the end, it came down to one former 1,500 specialist, the American record holder in the 15, and then the woman who got third in the 1,500 yesterday, Emily Mackay. And Mackay blew her away, 61 lost lap to win it. And, Parker Valby, I think a championship 5K against, I would have probably picked Houlihan. And if I'd known that Mackay was definitely running this race, I think I probably would have picked her as well. It's easy ex post facto, logic there, but just dropping those women, you're going to have to run quite fast to drop them and pull them away. And the worry about Valby, the way she'd been running these races earlier this year, very impressive. It's good to see her PRing again, but she was not improving. She wasn't kicking or picking up at all at the end of races.
Yeah, look,
and she didn't do that today either.
I thought it was a disappointing race, to be honest. I was stunned that, I mean, she's from Florida. She normally likes to run in the heat. It was, probably in high 70s today?
Yeah.
Sunny, but she basically ran 450, 450, and then got her doors blown off. This is a woman that ran 1439. I mean, she had PR'd in her last race. So I was thinking, okay, we can do that. And she was really dusted in the last 800. And what you said it best, John, in all of her races, like even the first race, you were really excited about it because she's been gone for so long. But I was just like, she didn't pick it up at all. And it's like today she went 71. She was basically running 72s the whole race, and then goes like 70, 25, 71, 0, 36. So like zero pickup. And it was just surprising to me to see her lose by 9 seconds. I guess obviously most of that was in the last lap, but she talked to her after the race. She's like, look, I'm giving myself a B or B minus in this. She was very upbeat. And that's the good news, is very upbeat. At first it sounded like to me that she had a hiccup. She hasn't been the smoothest. I thought she meant between the last race and this race. And then I asked her specifically that. She said, no, things are fine. I'm healthy. She's like, we figured it out. She's like, we knew what was wrong. It just took us a while how to solve the problem. She didn't explain what that was, but she claims that they've solved the problem and she's healthy. And if she's done that, that's good. I personally thought, I should probably go back and watch the tape, John, but she's not very smooth. She kind of is like an ugly runner.
Well, in college she was. I thought that this year in her 2 races, her form actually did look better and stronger. I didn't honestly, I did not get to see very much of the race today. I didn't see any of the race because I was doing interviews, so I can't comment on how she was running today. But her form looked pretty, definitely better in her first 2 races of 2026.
John is the official Parker Valby form expert. He will break it down in the next 2 days, and we will get it for you on the regular podcast. It's the Track Talk podcast, folks. It's better to subscribe to the Track Talk podcast. Get this. Any noise problems are out. Any filtering, long silences are removed. It's tip-top form. And you want the bonus podcast? LetsRun.com/subscribe. You want the shoe deal? Amazing deal. LetsRun.com/deal. I still can't get over these prices. $94 for Vomero 18.
The year 2026, $88 for Pegasus. Yeah,
Even John knows the deal. Good deal.
I bought those Under Armours because you suggested it. I've never worn an Under Armour. I'm not wearing them right now. I've never trained in them before, but you can get one for, what was it, $70 or $60 for, I think it was $65 for a pair of Under Armours training shoe. Yeah, I'm going to try to shoot my shot on that one.
Yeah, I got them even last. They gave me a coaching 20% discount.
Coaching?
Yes.
Oh, I guess you are coaching that in high school.
Education discount.
Yeah.
So.
And then, well, the other thing, I told to Shelby Houlihan after the race, and she was second, and said it's sort of been an up and down year. Last year was up and down, but they were quite a few ups, given she medaled at World Indoors, runner up at USA's, and then 4th at World Outdoors. This year there's been more downs than ups, I would say. And I was just curious about her sponsorship situation. She still doesn't have one. And I asked her, you finished 4th in the world last year. Usually that gets someone who finishes 4th in the world gets sponsored, but of course you did have the suspension. And so I was just curious, like, where does that stand? And she's like, yeah, it's kind of been tough, but I think we've been making some progress. She sort of teased that something might be coming on that front. But I was just kind of curious, like, do the brands ever mention, we're not sponsoring you because you were banned for doping? And she was like, look, I leave that to my agent. I don't know. But
it would really wear on me. It would anger me a lot not to be sponsored. But hey, it is what it is. We didn't talk about the women's long jump. Teare Davis-Woodhall, the world champion. Is she also the Olympic champion, John?
Yep.
She was losing in the 6th round. She's clutched 7.16 into a 1.1 headwind. She delivered the victory. Xian won the women's discus. Trying to think of other.
Well, we're not going to talk about the 200s, the 110 hurdles.
I've mentioned them. I'm like, analyze them.
I mean, I think the 200, okay, there's no Benara. Lyles pulls up. Garrett Kalin wins it. Good to see him having success again because, indoors, he was great. He almost broke the world record in NCAA indoors and then didn't really do that much outdoors, but now he seems to be back in shape, so that's good for him. And then...
Well, he didn't even, I don't think he even ran. He didn't record a finish at Big Tens or UFC. He ran 1985 last year.
Yeah. So... And then the women's side, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, 21.69, misses her PB by 100th. And she said, I was hoping to PB, but if I didn't PB, I wanted season's best. She got a season's best and seemed to feel pretty good. She's like, I've got PBs in me. The rest, they'll come the rest of the year. She said it's a little different because last year she was racing so much because she was in Grand Slam track that, though it was clear to everyone she was in amazing shape. This year she hasn't been racing as much, but she's still been running well. And she's like, I've just got to trust that what I'm doing in training is getting me in that shape. But she thinks she'll be ready to go. And I think when we do get rematches between her and Ciattei and Julian Alfred, be it in the Diamond League final, the World Ultimate Championships, those are going to be must-watch races because they all appear to be in sensational form. Even Pro Gabby Thomas been there in the 200. She's been running pretty well as well, though, Alfred's dusted her when they've raced head-to-head.
Yeah. And the big picture, I mean, we'll have a full podcast on Tuesday to do this, but thank God that people like Ciattei showed up, Noah Lyles, because if you end up with fields like the 5,000 today, or like imagine the 800 if you didn't have Cooper Lutkenhaus, like it would be a disaster and it would just be, there would be no buzz. There was enough to get out here. The crowds were disappointing on Thursday and Friday, but our sport is just a tough sell. We almost like have to admit it. Like we had brunch with a bunch of guys today, John, and they're like, well, if we, and you and I even said this ourselves, if we lived here in New York, we're not going to come to all 4 days of track. So we'd probably pick Saturday or Sunday because that's when the most finals are. Now, Friday night, you obviously have the 100, which is the marquee event in track and field. But, I can see why somebody doesn't necessarily want to hop on a bus, do a 2-mile walk for 45, it takes a minimum of 45 minutes to get here, even if you're in Manhattan, and watch, 10 seconds of amazing athletic stuff when you can turn it on TV. Well, you almost would need a blackout. If they had blackouts that didn't live stream this stuff, then people would be even more outraged. Yeah. I mean, before stuff was on TV, and I've talked to Eugene locals about that. The crowd in Eugene would definitely be bigger than here. But they said, look, we used to go to all the meets. We got a pass. We got us into everything. They no longer exist. We met a guy at the bar last night. He's like, I would have bought a pass for all days. They didn't sell it. But even our Eugene host out there, we rented the Airbnb from, he's like, it's just easier too. I can watch the 100 on TV. I don't have to go. I don't have to spend any money, etc. So it's a tough thing. But
the crowd was good today, though. It looked. I mean, it wasn't full, but I think this one might have even been. It wouldn't have. Might have been sold out.
TF, I don't think they're lying. They said that they told us on Friday, like Saturday and Sunday sold out. That's general admission though. And I took a picture of the VIP seats. Those were where the empty seats were. Yeah, but no, today was a good crowd. I thought. Or the expensive seats. I don't know if it's VIP. I assume it's. I thought today was good. And the crowd, the people who did show out, did bring good energy. So, I don't know. I think it was definitely worth a shot. You would have wanted a bigger turnout on it, certainly on days 2 and 3. But, we'll do the postmortem on that a little later. There are people in the comments, Robert, pointing out, Teare Davis-Woodhall, her third jump is no longer listed. It's listed as a foul now. And that bumps her back down to third place, 6.90. Does anyone know what happened here? Like, I saw her in the results as a 7.15, right? Usually it's a foul right away. It was a 6th-round jump. A 6th-round jump, right. But did they use VAR on this? Anyone in the comments know what's up? I'll try to get a comment from USATF when we're done. But that's highly unusual to have a mock count. Everyone assumes she's the champion, and then it's stricken off later. That's very odd to me. Someone says my speaking yips are bad. Folks, it was a late night last night, not gonna lie. The inside scoop that I got, if I revealed what someone told me last night, the names that they thought were on drugs at one point, we're not talking names from now, we're talking names from 10 to 15 years ago. Well, Robert also just he hears one thing and he just runs with it. It's like, oh, this must be true. And I was told this, and like, you didn't follow up with some of the questions I wanted, that sort of thing. But I had to leave early and write that recap for anyone who read it. Robert was out plumbing, sources and building relationships in the bars of New York City.
So we're each doing something vital to our craft.
I told John flat out. He called me, said, "You coming to work?" I said, "Absolutely not."
I didn't call you. You called me and said you weren't coming to work.
Well, okay. I was having extensive 30-minute, hour-long plus conversations with multiple coaches who have coached world champions. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
That's all. It was fun. Anyone in the comments? Q&A time. About to wrap up. Write these recaps. Get back on that Amtrak. Get the heck out of New York City. No one knows what happened in the long jump.
Yeah, I'll try to get some answers on that. Roy, we don't have to go super long. I mean, we will have another podcast on Tuesday.
That's what by the way, supporters, club members, I told Weldon, Mike, we don't need to do the podcast today because we're going to talk about the same thing on Tuesday. Weldon was like, absolutely, we have to do that. You guys need to do the podcast. That's what they pay for. They want the breakdowns of the big meets right away. They don't want to wait 2 days. So we'll have everything in the proper perspective.
We're happy to provide it for our LetsRun.com supporters club members, the best fans in track and field.
That's true.
Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, that's going to be.
Thank you for showing up for the meetup. I dropped $50,000 on the tab, but well worth it. That's why we need 5 of you to sign up right now. LetsRun.com/subscribe. LetsRun.com/subscribe. If you can't sign up for the supporters club, at least buy some shoes. LetsRun.com/deal.
And like Robert says, make sure you're going to the website each and every day.
We'll do this Tuesday, but if I just ask you spur of the moment, there's no prep for this one, John. It's harder. Who was your biggest loser at this meet? Whose performance was most disappointing to you?
Donovan Brazier. I think that's a pretty easy question.
Correct. And without a doubt, the biggest winner?
I mean, it was good for Noah Lyles until he pulled up, but that was a statement win for him, so that was good. Biggest winner.
I mean, it could be Woody Kincaid. I don't know what it means long term for him.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously it's for Woody Kincaid, Emily Mackay, Vincent Ciattei, for them to win their first U.S. outdoor titles. It is a big deal. You know, these aren't full strength fields, but they still had to beat some decent people to do it. So I think you go with them.
It might be Cooper Lutkenhaus.
Nathan Mountain, quite a comeback. You know, 9th at NCAA's to winning USA.
Oh, that's true.
I think he's a pretty good candidate for that.
Wow. The correct answer from David Mencher was Eugene. Eugene, you're back in the mix. Rojo's not written you off. If I come to New York a couple of times, I'll be begging to go back to Eugene. I just like to complain.
Yeah. When was the last time you were in Eugene, Robert? Was it the World Championships? Have you been there since?
John, I'm secretly one of the top shoe designers for Nike. They fly me out every 2 or 3 months for me to go over the shoes. That's a joke, people. I'm not sure when it is.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Hey, if you got a running friend that doesn't know about LetsRun.com, tell them we're the home of running. LetsRun.com.